Welcome, 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 my wonderful Legionnaires, and do we have a special little show for you today? You don't see this type of thing often, and maybe that's gonna run the risk of because it's boring as molasses. But I argue molasses isn't boring, and this subject is very near and dear to me. Why? Because it's all about packing minis. Packing a miniature, getting it in the box, sealing it up, shipping it off, and hoping that it arrives to your customer safe and sound. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Why is it near and dear to me? Because I have lost count of the number of miniatures that I have personally ordered, painted, like coming in from England or coming in from Spain or coming in from Greece or whatever it happens to be, and they arrive broken, and it's been purely because how they've been packaged. And it's incredible the number of professional painters out there who don't think about how they package the miniature. They don't think about that this box is just it's going to be all over the place in the mail, right? Especially if it's international. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm actually going to package Washington here as we go. This has been purchased by Wargaming Recon. Wargaming, love you, man. Big props. This is I like this piece. I like how it came out. It's the first time I've ever done ice. It's the first time I've ever done snow. And I kind of, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey, and I'm glad that he's going to go into a wonderful home. And I promised Wargaming Recon that I would actually package this on video, not only so we can see it, the process, but then I think we could all get something out of this, because I have a twist that you may not be expecting. So with that said, let's talk about how this could fail. Well, for starters, this guy is he's a pound and a half. He's weighty, Now he is stuck to the wooden base, of course, but in travel he is easily going to end up like this. Easily. Can you imagine if I dropped this right now on camera? Oh my god. Anyway, he could easily end up like this. And there's some weight coming down here. And so in a box, upside down, you know what a lot of shippers do? Or painters, I should say. They get like some bubble wrap or something like that. And they kind of put it all over the piece, and maybe they tape it up, lock it sort of tissue paper, and they wrap it up. And they're not thinking about the fact that the miniatures are going to be literally shaken. They're going to be put upside down. They're going to be kicked into the other side of a van. Someone's going to run over them. You know how certain shipping companies handle their stuff. UPS, I'm looking at you. So, with that said, I want to make sure that this guy in his box is going nowhere, and I don't want to rely on bubble wrap to stop him moving. I don't want to rely on this stuff, I mean, this is fine, but not to stop the sheer weight of this base moving within the box that it's in. So that will get used later on, and I'll tell you how I'm going to use that. This stuff, I mean, okay, for big, bulky electronics, I mean, not even that, really. Maybe electronics you don't care about. Maybe if you're going to be shipping a bottle of airbrush cleaner, and it's not really that important, then sure, Air Plus, fine. And there's also in Europe, you can get, little polystyrene, but they're, little tiny balls. They're literally that little type of guy right there. It's like, hello. And they're really, really, really good because you fill the box with them. But there's two problems. One, they're not eco-friendly. Don't think you can even get them in the United States like that. And two, they're a pain in the ass on the receiving end. Please. They get everywhere. They get staticky. They stick to you. They stick to the cat. It's hell on earth. The other thing is that this here, if you could imagine putting this guy in a box and filling it with thousands and thousands of these, is not going to actually keep him in place. So this is a nice idea, but it's got some pitfalls, and so I'm going to come back to that in a moment with a solution that you might not have thought about. So let's just put him to one side for now. I might actually put him in the box on principle. So again, I'm going to keep him safe right there. So first things first, I want to keep this little sucker nice and steady in the box. And I got delivered this box recently, so let's just test it for size. This is actually, I mean, look, that's actually pretty good right now. Of course, the height is wrong, but I'm going to come back to that. And by the way, I'm going to double box this thing. So right now, I'm just really worried about the main box that he's going to be in, the main sort of shield he's got to the outside world, and then there'll be another bigger box that he'll be in with this type of stuff in it, right? So he'll be double shielded. But for now, this guy, even within this, is not secure. And I'm probably going to, by the way, tape it up a little bit like this. So, if he's not secure, how do I make him secure? I want to stick him to the bottom of this box here. I literally want to be able to hold this upside down, and he's going nowhere. And I seriously, let me just put him down over here next to the mic if I hear a bump. There it is. Okay, I seriously thought about screwing it through here into the wooden base. I seriously thought about that. And in the end, I decided, you know, such a wonderful base. I don't want Wargaming Recon to get this thing, the customer, and suddenly be like, well, why have I got these 4 or 5 holes in the bottom here? Like, this is like cheap shit, you know. I didn't want to do that. So how do I stick into this without getting into a position where Wargaming can't actually take it out again? Well, I thought about maybe, what if I cut off something like this here and manage to get him stuck to this somehow, and then actually stick this, it could be Elmer's glue or whatever, but stick this to the bottom of the other box there. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. I pop you out. Come on. Come on. Don't make me stab myself with a pair of scissors on YouTube. That would be terrible. There's probably an easier way of doing this. There we go. Okay. So I'm seriously thinking about utilizing something like this, and then cutting this and folding it over the base. So let's say I position him here, and look at that fit. Look at that fit. Look at the folds. I mean, it's almost destined to be, isn't it? So what if we actually then bring this up, if I got rid of the excess, and I bent this, let me just get rid of you there. I might have to cut you off sooner for demo purposes. I then bent this over, and if I do that on all 4 sides, I can actually then secure that down solidly with even just Scotch tape or something. And I have a retaining mechanism that is not a permanent feature of this base. Then I stick this to that. And then what Wargaming Weekend can do is cut this loose, releasing it, so to speak, and just be able to pull him out. That, I think, is where I want to go with this. So let's real quick. Again, you might hear a little bit of a bump. Okay. Let's get rid of... Do I want to... Where are my knives? What did I do with my knives? It's not a show unless Alyssa cuts herself. That'll do. Alright. So let's just... I'm going to get rid of these. Get rid of this. By the way, if you ever order miniatures painted, or in fact anything, I got antique glasses shipped to me once, and the person that shipped them in the original container that they came in, which was nice. It was a display box. The display box didn't have any packaging. The glasses within the box didn't have any packaging. So like the box within, or the display box within the shipping container had lots. But what do you think the glasses did inside? They arrived utterly shattered. It is honestly, truly amazing how little people think about the shipping. And when it comes to people who have been painting miniatures and stuff, You know, there's its adage of make sure that you do a nice base on your miniature because you put all of that love into the actual painting and then you ignore the base and it's like really bland and it detracts from the paint job that you just did. All of that is very, very, very true. Well, I think it's equally true if you're shipping this to a potential customer and you actually don't secure it, then you've just potentially ruined your work. You know, I had some skeletons shipped from England once, and they arrived broken. They were plastic. They'd been glued in multiple places, of course. You know, they were one of these sort of kit builds. The legs were separate from the torso, separate from the heads, so on and so forth. And you can probably imagine, because they were not well shipped, they arrived just shattered. Now, okay, granted, I could just break out some glue and fix them. Should I have to? What if they'd been metal? Alright. So I'm a big advocate of, like, trying to make sure that we're just doing our part, you know? Now, if truly UPS does want to run over our truck, there is nothing we could do about that. But let's see if we can help protect against it. So I want to actually get this kind of like 4 ways, like this. I might cut a little slot right there. But you can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? I can really secure this down. Maybe one here too. So you know what? Let's do that. I'll be very careful with this knife. Just cut out a little V right here. Might not be enough, but just enough to try and... okay. And here. This is also, honestly, partly, for me, a little bit of a proof of concept. Because I like to paint. I actually don't paint a lot of the time with intention to keep the miniature or the diorama. I actually like giving away what I've done or selling. Ultimately, I just like them to be in a home somewhere with someone who enjoys them. It brings me great joy. So let's get this down. And if this works out well, then this will be the way that we kind of ship things from now on. So I'll be back once I've finished messing around with this box. Let's do a little bit of a fast forward montage. I think that will do it. I think that's looking pretty close to our, should we call it sarcophagus? It's a little bit like the wrap. Well, I suppose it's not a sarcophagus, right? I was thinking about Chernobyl, and that would be like entombed in this, so not quite just yet. So I think, how's the best way that I want to do this? I think here, I kind of want to get this down here first. So I'm just going to kind of pin this stuff in place a little bit. And you kind of get the idea. Let's do another little fast forward montage on this as we secure all of these corners down. Okay. So we have Mr. George Washington here in a sleeve that is absolutely going nowhere. Absolutely going nowhere. Now, I'm obviously not shipping him like this, and there's going to be a lot more packaging going on. But this now means if I can secure this sleeve to the bottom of a box somehow, then, and then I package him up on top of that, then I've got a secure carrying mechanism. Let's turn him around. I did have some nice big scotch tape on this side, but just to be sure, I just want to make sure that these flaps here are holding him. And they are. Now, you'll notice, by the way, that he does have a sword here. And in fact, if you can see it, the telescope here is kind of away from the body. Anywhere like this is a potential break point, right? If something pushes against this, it's going to start putting strain on the joints, and even if they're pinned and they're glued, that strain is a potential failure point. Likewise, the sword, as we've got movement, if it starts to push on the sword a little bit, including, by the way, your packaging. The number of times that I see, someone will actually, they'll package it and they'll put big, huge chunks like this. Well, this in and of itself can push against that sword. So we want to try and get some packaging right in there. In fact, this is actually pretty good. Hold on a minute. I kind of want to use a big chunk like this, but you get the idea. I'm going to use something finer, just on the inside of the sword, so if something does push, it's got some support behind it. That's my objective here. And I'm going to do that actually before I put him in his box. When I do put him in the box, I am seriously, honestly thinking about gluing this with some Elmer's. That's what I'm honestly thinking about doing. Like gluing this whole thing here and then sticking this to it. Because when Wargaming Recon gets this, he'll just be able to cut these. It doesn't matter if this is stuck in position. He can cut these. This will flip open, and he can lift Mr. George Washington out. I think that's the way that I want to go with it. Now, before we get there, though, let's secure a couple of these items. And I had somewhere... here we go. I've got some tissue paper, which I think might do the trick. A little bit gentler. I mean, this type of thing, this is no good. This is too big, it's too bulky. So let's put that to one side. And I do have some finer bubble wrap, which fine, but I don't want to use it in this context, I don't think. Let's give him some fine support behind that sword right there. So, all right. Let's cut some strips off, and I'm probably gonna put it behind the telescope there too. You can't really go too small with this, but you can go too big. Like, a lot of people would now be tempted just to wrap him in a whole bunch of tissue paper or something, or toilet paper. What's that doing for the sword? Where's the support coming from on that? So let's try and just give him a little bit more support here. Just gonna bunch this up. And you watch, I now break up off the sword. Wouldn't that be a thing? Oh man, I probably should get, like, you know what, I'm actually going to. Let's get some little tweezers. Just so we can control this a little bit more. Here we go. Make sure we're supporting the sword and we're not putting strain on it. There we go. I kind of want to get a little bit more on the bottom there. I also want this to be fairly straightforward for the client to be able to take it apart. So I think actually having a video to go by would be good. That's not bad. That's got some support there. I'm okay with that. Now this telescope there, I think what I might do with that is let's cut a little bit of this down. so. Yeah, that's a knife. Lols. Alright, let's get that in. Come on, baby boy. Come on, you know you want to do it. There you go. Yeah, that's going to be good. What did I do with them? There they are. Come on. Come on. Let's tease you. There. Oh, that's nicely supported. That's good. That's really good. How about a little bit behind you right there? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think what we'll do now is I want to fill some of the big gaps on this. So, you know, between the chest and his foot and his cloak and the boat, let's just wedge a little bit in right there. Just general support. This stuff too, by the way, I think we can just put it on the top there because it's all going to go in. And then, do we underneath the cloak? I think we might. I don't want to rub the snow off. I have sealed the snow, but I don't want to start putting a lot of pressure on it, you know? Especially because that's what his little footprints are right there. So let's just a little bit in here. And let's cut this guy down. Okay, oops. There we go. Okay. Just in case there's a little bit of jostling with materials and everything, I can be sure that his base and the things around his base are protected. Alright, and the boat is very secure. Okay, so let's do this now. Let's get. Whoop, okay, well, I've got to put George to one side just for a moment. Let's get this. Put him over here. And a little bit of knocking around the microphone. My apologies. He's good. Little sip of whiskey. That's the stuff. And here. Now this is wood glue. So should stick pretty well, I would think. Cardboard on cardboard. Like permanently. So I'm just gonna be reasonably liberal with this. Because I do want it to actually stick to the base here. These two are raised more than the middle, so it's probably going to be here that's mainly holding him. And if when we fill this, some stuff actually sticks to the glue, well, you know, big deal, right? Oof. And suddenly, Alyssa Faden is sniffing glue. Okay. Hopefully this holds. Now we get our George, and let's position him in here. Now there was a tighter fit because he's got cardboard around him now, but still, I mean, this was perfect, right? And I'm going to push him down. I'm using the cardboard on the edges to do it, so I'm not pushing on him. Now I think it would be appropriate to let that dry a little bit, but I'm gonna keep on going. Just make sure I get a good spludge. I want to see spludging coming out the side, so I know I'm putting good pressure on there. Good, good. Okay, so now I'm gonna fill this box, and I don't think I'm going to try and wrap him in bubble wrap or anything, because I don't think it is truly needed. And it's going to be because of what I'm about to show you. But before I do that, I am going to, I think, get some bits in the sides here to stop sideways movement. I mean, it's glued, but let's not take any chances, right? There we go. Apologies if you can hear that, like nails on a chalkboard. There you go, there's another little bit. Just kind of get him secured down. That would have been a good bit right down the side there. Well, you know what? Let's do that. That looks good. You know what I was really, really, really tempted to do? Is actually put like dowling rods or something through the sides here. Like literally holding it down. I was so tempted to do that. Or on the corners. You know, can you imagine? I mean, that sucker would hold it down. But then I've got bits sticking out the sides, and I didn't know if I wanted to actually get into that. But that'd be kind of cool. Even if it was a stiff wire or something, that'd be neat. Like a hanger or something. I think that could be a lot of palaver though. I think that could be some needless palaver. How am I doing on height on this thing? Alright. I think this will be good. If he's stuck to the bottom and I hold this upside down, and I'm going to put some stuff in here in a moment. I'm going to show you what I'm about to put in here. That's going nowhere. He's secure. Alright, let's do it. So I'm going to tape up these corners. I'm going to have to make a top to this box. Okay, something like that. Just want to kind of almost temporarily pin these. I'm kind of making a box of the dimensions that I want. Because I want to make a container for the next step. And if we don't have the little tiny bits of polystyrene that they do in Europe, how am I going to fill this if it's not with big, huge, chunky bits? Well, I'm going to show you right now, young Padawan. I'm going to show you. Scotch tape alert. Oh, really, really need to do that. Kind of just wanted to fill the holes out here a little bit, and that might be a clue for what the next step is going to be. This feels secure. This is good. Now, Wargaming said he was going to actually do an unboxing at his end, so we're going to make a pair, I think, out of these videos here. And won't I look foolish if this thing arrives shattered? Won't that be a thing? But here's my secret trick that I am hoping will do what we need. Let's just get polystyrene in there. This last push down on the corners. There we go. Alright, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Here's my secret weapon. It's puffed rice. Now imagine filling this box with regular rice and how much it would just fill all of the gaps. And if you packed it enough, it would be like a solid freaking block, right? With your pride and treasure right in the middle of it. Well, that would also weigh a hell of a lot. But eco-friendly, there's a plus. Ding. This puffed rice, a little bit more voluminous, hell of a lot lighter. So and this is got no flavour or anything. Totally biodegradable, of course. Literally, Wargaming Weekend will be able to pour this onto his compost. Let's just cut a corner off, actually. And let's not drop it on the floor, because that would be messy. This by the way, is a 6-ounce bag. That's all it is a 6-ounce bag. And you saw the size of it. It's freaking huge. Jack and I bought like 12 of them by accident. We've ordered them on Amazon, like, because we were thinking that 6 ounces was not a lot in volume. Well, it's a hell of a lot in volume. It's just not a lot in weight. So we kind of just did not think that one through very well. I'm just going to do it a little bit, and then kind of let's get these... Oh, that smells nice. Get these tucked down. Make sure... Get into all of the nooks and crannies. This is one reason, by the way, why I wanted to fill some of the largest spaces already, you know? I don't want to rely on this. This is really my friendly packaging to fill the box. I'm kind of glad that I've got bought a second bag up here, so let's just... You can see now why I filled the corners, right? Now, I'm not going to say that I came up with this idea, because I did not. I actually had someone shipping miniatures to me, painted wargaming miniatures. And they arrived perfectly because of this. And I could just empty this into the sink, actually, and put it through the grinder. And it worked out really well. Now, there is a little bit that gets on this hat, a little bit of dust. But, to demonstrate, do I have a brush? Why do I not have a brush handy? Hold on. Here's one I prepared earlier. It's not stuck to him or anything. So we're going to be able to just blow that off easy enough. And it has no adverse effects. He even had snow on his hat. The snow is still there. The little dust comes off. So, let's just let's get a little bit more on him right here. Might as well just get a little bit of this in the corners. No reason why not. And then we'll do the second bag. Okay, let's fill this up. Now I do have to create a lid on this, like I stated earlier. If the box had been perfectly dimensioned, I wouldn't have to do that. But hopefully you can get the idea. This, with a lid, he's going nowhere. He is literally going nowhere. I just need to now make sure that this section is adequately full. And then I feel pretty confident that this box, this still has about the same weight as a George in his base to begin with. This box is secure, you know? That is secure. So I'm going to now create a lid for this, and I will be right back. Let's go fast forward. We are good. Now to deal with this way is up. So this here, obviously I'm not shipping this. This is going to go in another box now with FedEx, and they are going to use the big popcorn stuff all the way around it. So double boxed, double sheathed. Outer box gets a knock, and they do, right? They do. Then it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be able to take a little bit of a tumble, and because this is packed pretty firmly, but not too firmly. That feels secure. That feels secure. So, all being well, it arrives intact. All Wargaming Recon will have to do is cut off the top, empty out the cachie, give a little bit to the George Washington, a little bit of a dust off, or if you've got a little bit of an air spray, you know, like for a computer or something, just spray them gently off, get rid of the cachie dust, pull out the little bits of support that we put in there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this arrives safely. So let's find out in a week or so when this arrives at Mr. Wargaming Recon's house and he does the unboxing. So hopefully, hopefully you found that to be at least semi-entertaining, even with the edits and everything that I put in there. I'm not going to do this type of thing all of the time. It's like the opposite of an unboxing, isn't it? But I am going to occasionally do this type of thing as I work at my hobby desk, sharing how I'm approaching a particular problem. So until then, everyone, have a good one. I love you all, and I will see you on the flip side.